The webinar has begun, or we would like to call it a training session, because today we're going to train you on all the cool new features that Botsonic has been rolled out on. So we are seeing many people that are joining from various places. And as a ritual for every training session that we do here, we would like to know you. We would like to know where you're joining in from. And to start with, I would like to start with myself. I'm Minank. I'm the community manager at Botsonic. You might know me because we might have interacted on our Discord or Slack communities. And I'm joining in from India. It's almost 9:30 p.m. here. And where are you joining in from? Tell us in the chat down below. We would love to see where you're joining in from and talk to you about today's training session. So, Los Angeles, Germany. I've been to Germany last year. Lake Tahoe, awesome. Netherlands, great stuff. UK, Wiltshire, awesome. Italy is also there, amazing. Houston, Texas. And this is exactly what I love about our community. When we are trying to do these kind of training sessions, you guys try to come in from all over the world, and we can just sit together like this with our comfortable chairs, grab a popcorn or whatever it is, snacks or something, and we're gonna get started with today's training session in another 2 minutes. That's it. 2 more minutes. We'll just get started. We'll just wait for other people to come in as well, because I really don't want anyone to be missing out on what we are about to show today. Joining with me is Sam, and he is the founder and CEO of Botsonic. You might have known him already if you have attended our previous sessions. So Sam, how are you doing?
Doing great. Feeling wonderful to kind of get started with the new Botsonic and show it off to everyone. And
awesome.
Yeah, looking forward to an amazing training session where we go through all the exciting updates that we released in the last few weeks. And also, for those of you who have been using Botsonic within Botsonic, we'll also share a bit on why we did the migration to the new Botsonic and what all you'll be seeing there as part of our roadmap in the coming days and weeks.
So crucial questions out there. And with these questions, I would like you to ask these questions in the Q&A tab only, not in the chat section, because with the Q&A tab, it's organized and it's just well presented for us to answer your questions. So please ask your questions in the Q&A tab, not in the chat section, and that's going to help out. But if there are any doubts during our presentation, you can definitely ask in the chat section as well. But last few days have been amazing for us here at Botsonic, because we have released not 1, not 2, not 3, but total more than 7 updates for Botsonic. That's right, more than 7 different updates. And if you have been following us and all the updates, we've released the most crucial WhatsApp integration. Yes, for all those Asians out there, we are doing WhatsApp marketing. This is what you need to have. We also have released the other integrations as well. If you're not on WhatsApp, that's all right. We have the Telegram integration now. We also have the Messenger integration. So whatever it is, pick your poison and we have it for you. And we have more such updates, especially iframe, because you guys just keep asking on Discord. Okay, can we get that iframe feature? How do we exactly use it? We're going to cover it all in today's session. And people have joined in from Florida, USA, Samira from India, Houston, Texas. Great, great, great. Good stuff. I would like to welcome you all to today's training session. And our commitment by the end of this training session is that you will learn how to use Botsonic in a much more effective manner to serve your clients, or whether it is if you're presenting it to your upper management, etc. Be ready with the questions, because we're going to answer them all. So over to you, Sam. A lot of exciting updates out there, and I'm personally excited for this because there are so many updates.
For sure, yeah, let's get started. So I'll just start sharing my screen, and if anyone has any questions, do feel free to post it in the Q&A section, and we'll try to cover them after, like 20-25 minutes once we go through the walkthrough of the new Botsonic platform. So keep posting, and we'll make sure to cover all of the questions.
Absolutely. And I'll be there behind the scenes, answering you, talking to you, clearing any doubts, etc. And our team at Rightsonic is also standing behind. And if you stick till the end of the session, we also have a special gift for you as well. So stay tuned. Over to you, Sam.
Awesome. Can you see my screen?
Yep, we can see your screen.
Awesome. Cool. So this is what the new Botsonic platform looks like. And you can find it at bot.rightsonic.com. For those of you who have been using Botsonic inside Rightsonic, I think we shared it before as well. So we very recently did a transition to this new version, and it's basically to kind of build more features and to ensure the stability and the reliability of the platform. Because Rightsonic in itself, it's a pretty hefty, big system where we have AI content creation and audio creation and Chatsonic, lots of different things. So to ensure that the platform is stable, we have migrated it into this standalone platform where you can use it without fearing about downtimes, about any scalability issues, because it's quite scalable, well built, and rebuilt sort of from the ground up. So I'll quickly get started. So this is what the dashboard looks like, pretty self-explanatory. And we'll start by creating a bot. Now, if you see here, we have two templates. We are adding new templates almost every single week, but the two core ones are support. So most of the users have, use our support chatbot because the use cases around support or answering any question and answers, or very sort of generic kind of chatbot which is able to answer questions just like a human. So this is what it is meant for. Second one that we also have is the e-commerce template. This one is a little bit more customized towards e-commerce use cases, where, for example, if you have an online store like Shopify, or if you have your own kind of website where you sell some products, then this might also be a relevant one that you can try out. So I'll get started with this support one, and I'll just call it Botsonic training session. So we'll just click the create bot button, and this creates our bot for us. And this is what the main interface looks like, where you'll upload your data, you'll connect to different applications, you'll find the embedding code, and a lot more settings to really customize your bot as per your own brand. So let's start from the sources tab. So this is where you upload your data, which is what Botsonic will train itself on. So a couple of different file formats we support. So for any kind of file uploads, we support PDF and doc files at the moment. So both doc and docx, both of them are supported. We also added support for CSV just yesterday. Currently, this only works with one CSV file because we are working on experimenting with this as a beta feature. And once that works out, then we'll also enable it for multiple CSVs and Excel files as well. Then, of course, you have links. So you can enter in individual links of any of your website's pages, or you can also enter the entire sitemap. So, for example, you can do rightsonic.com/sitemap.xml. We'll scrape the entire sitemap and index the entire site. And then finally, we have the FAQs. FAQs is, I'll come to this a bit later on, but basically you can add some frequently asked questions which might be wrong in your sources, or which you want to give specific answers to. So those you can put in here. So what I'll do is I'll start with the links option here. So let's say we start with adding the Rightsonic website. So I'll just add rightsonic.com. I'll also add rightsonic.com/pricing. And click on upload and train. So what this will do is it will show you the status here. So it has changed to processing status. So our scraper will go and kind of scrape your website, process all the information, and train the AI model. So within kind of 2 seconds, the model has been trained, as you can see. Now I'll also talk about quickly these options that are mentioned here. So you have your, the actual link, the file type. In this case, it's a link. Status. So when it is in the train status, then it means that it's ready to, it's ready where you can ask questions about that specific file or URL. Then we also have the sync website functionality. So this is for when, let's say you uploaded this link few days back, and today, for example, you updated that website, you added some new content or you removed some content. So all you need to do is just click this button and it will resync it. We're also adding an auto sync functionality where, let's say, every week it would automatically index your site. But for the time being, you can do this manually. And then finally, we have the visibility option, which I'll come to. But basically, you can specify whether you want to show this source with your AI answers or not. So I'll show what that means. So on the right-hand side, you can see what the bot looks like. So by default, this is what the bot looks like. You have a form as well, where your users can enter information. And this all gets saved into the database, which you can then export. So it basically helps with lead generation. So what I'll do is, for the time being, I'll just disable this template. So I went to the settings tab, user form, and I'll hide the form just so that it's easier to test. And now I'll ask it. So I can just say, hello. It will respond back. How can I assist you today? And then I can ask, for example, what is Botsonic? And if you see, in this case, it came up with that information. Botsonic is an all-in-one content creation platform. And these are the sources it kind of gave out. So in this case, it found that information from botsonic.com. I can also go and open this page. So this is where that information came from. And to just show you that it actually came from here, I'll just click on this FAQ. So if you see, this has been taken from here. And so this is what the sources does. So when I was talking about the visibility functionality here, you can turn off the visibility for certain sources. So for example, if you don't want Botsonic.com to be shown in the responses here as a source, you can turn that specific source off and it won't show up here. So yeah, that's about that. I'll quickly jump into some of the other things. So the settings page, for example. So in the settings, there are a bunch of different customization options. So I'll quickly go through these. So first of all, we have the appearance tab. So first thing it takes as input is the bot name. So in this case, you can set your bot name as whatever you want. You can call it Botsonic, you can call it Jarvis, whatever you want. Company name you can set to, of course, your company name. And if you see on the right-hand side here, this will be updated here instantly. Description, you can put it if you want. This won't show up anywhere here. This is just for you to kind of differentiate between your bots on the dashboard page. Then, of course, you can add your company logo, your bot avatar. So you can sort of choose from one of these chat bubble icons. So I'll just minimize this. So you can choose from one of these options, or you can also upload your own image here. So it requires a square image of about 1024 by 1024 pixels. So you can upload your own image or use one of the images that we provide. Next thing is accent color, pretty self-explanatory. So if you want to change the color of your bot, you can do that from here. Finally, we also have a couple of these different string settings. So essentially, for example, if you want to change the text, our bot answers instantly, which is here, you can change that. Similarly, the welcome message, which is the first message that you see, this one, that can also be updated from here. Send a message is basically this placeholder message in the text box. And then some advanced settings, as in where if there's a server error, what message do you want to show? What message do you want to show? So that all you can also set from here. Now coming on to some other configuration settings. So one of them we have is Botsonic branding on the widget. So this is what you see at the bottom. You can hide or show it up to your as per your needs. This is only available on our paid plans as an add-on. So if you like that, you can purchase an add-on, or you can just keep this banner here at the bottom. It's a pretty small banner. Next thing is widget position. So in this case, if you see the widget is appearing on the right-hand side, if you change it to left, it will of course show on the left-hand side. You won't be able to see it here on the dashboard, but when you copy the code and put it on your website, you'll be able to see that. Then we have the show sources with the response. So, just 2 minutes back, we saw the sources. So those sources can be disabled from here if you don't want to show which page or which file that information came from. So you can hide that source here. Then, of course, finally, we have the beta tag. So this is what you see on the top left corner. So this is also something you can enable or you can hide it as per your wish. So I'll just click the Save Settings button. So my settings will be saved. Okay, I changed the color. So yeah, that was that. And then finally, we also have the welcome message. So if you go to the Botsonic website, you'll see this welcome message where you want the bot to kind of give this pop-up kind of thing so that it seems more obvious to your end user. So this is the welcome message. And finally, you also have some starter questions, which I'll jump onto now. So I'll click widget is closed by default, and I'll enable these options here. And if you see here, the starter message, the welcome message, which we had here, that is being shown here as a pop-up now. We'll also add some starter questions. So I'll jump to the starter questions tab. This is basically a set of sample questions you can add, which are very common among your users, and you want to give predetermined responses for that. So for example, I can say, let's say, what is Botsonic? And I'll copy a response here from our website. So I just pasted that. I'll click the save button. And if you see here, that has been added as a starter question. Similarly, we recommend adding 2 to 3 starter questions, not more than that. So I'll just add one more. Is Botsonic free to use? Then I'll add, yes, Botsonic has a free trial. So that's my second starter question. Again, as you can see here, it's being shown. Now, there are 2 ways to invoke this starter question. Either you can go and click this button and it will generate the response. Or what you can do is also from here, you can click that button and it would sort of instantly generate that response there. So this is what that looks like. This is your welcome message, and these are your starter questions. Again, these are, if you want to sort of disable either of these, you can do it from here. So for example, if I click hide, show welcome message, but hide the starter questions, then I can click the save button, and now my starter questions are not being shown here. All right, now let's go to the bot settings tab. So this is where you have the option for setting the template. We already chose this as the support template early on. We also have the response length option. So by default, this is set to short. It will give you responses which are about 50 to 70 words long. And then you also have the medium and long options if you want to give really long responses to your end users. Then languages, there are about 25 plus languages that we support. So you can choose any of those languages here. We are also improving our language handling, wherein it would be able to automatically identify the user's language and continue the entire conversation based on that. So that update is coming up shortly. We're just doing some testing there. Now, this is a very important field, your customer support email. So this is where if the bot is unable to answer a query, it will sort of try to refer it to your customer support team. So for example, I'll just put in support at Botsonic here. And if the bot is unable to answer that query, it will say that, please, sorry, I don't know about that. Why don't you contact our customer support team at support@botsonic.com? So this is a very kind of important field, and I would recommend that you definitely set that. Then we have some chatbot guidelines. If you want to add your own guidelines in terms of that, you want it to write in a certain way, or you want to use emojis or not use emojis. So any kind of your own sort of writing style that you want to enforce on the bot, that you can mention here, and the bot will try and stick to that. And then finally, we have our user limit per user and user limit warning. So what this means, if you have a very popular website where you're getting a lot of users coming in and using your chatbot, Of course, AI costs money. So you don't want some of the bad users to spam your bot and waste your message credits. So this is where you can set the maximum number of messages that a user can send on your bot on a daily basis. So by default, this is set to 10. So what that means is after 10 messages on your bot for a specific user, and the way we determine a user is by using their IP address. So after 10 messages, it won't answer the questions of the user, and it would give a message saying message limit exceeded. So that is for that. And we do recommend setting some limit, maybe not 10, you can set like 25, 30 as per your convenience. And then finally, let's jump onto the user form. So I'll just show that. So this is what user form looks like. So right before starting the conversation, you can show this kind of a form to your users, where you can specify certain fields. For example, in this case, I've specified the name and email. You can also add other fields like phone number and any other text fields like subject line and all that. And this will help you in sort of lead generation, essentially. So people, when they come to the bot, they'll be entering their name and email and then hitting the submit button. So you have that information available with you, so that you can contact them later. All right. So that's about the settings tab. Now let's jump on to the share tab so that we can kind of actually take this bot and embed it on our website. So there are 3 ways in which you can sort of use the bot. Actually 4 ways now. So first one is embedding the bot. So this is just one code snippet similar to how you have with other bots or embedding code. You can copy this and paste it on your website, whether you have a WordPress website or an HTML website, whatever that is. So just for showing, I'll go to CodePen for a trial. And in the HTML field here, I'll just paste in that code. And within a couple of seconds, it will show up here. So here you go. So all you need to do to integrate this widget on your website is copy that embedding code and put it on your website. And this basically renders the chatbot on your website like that. And similarly, as I was mentioning before, I can go to the settings page and I can change the widget position. So when I reload the bot now, let me do a full reload. Yeah. So now the bot renders on the left-hand side because we have changed that setting there. So that is one way of embedding your bot if you want like a proper chatbot interface. Second way of embedding your bot is our iframe method. So iframe is where you want a wider kind of interface similar to Chatsonic or ChatGPT, and you want to embed it at a certain place on your website, not necessarily at the bottom left or bottom right. So I'll show you that as well. The same code pen I'll just delete this code and I'll paste in that new code. All right. So now the bot appears like this, and sort of like a full screen interface, and you can control the height and width from here. It's up to you. So you can change that in the code settings here. And this gives a much bigger sort of more interactive flow as well, if that is something you're interested in. So I'll just enter in some information here. I'll hit the submit button and I'll just ask sample questions. So that is what it looks like. And all the functionality that you get on our widget is also available here. Next way is using our REST API. Of course, if you're technical enough or if you have your own developers and you don't want to use our front-end interface, then you can also use our API and integrate it that way. And then finally, we have our integrations. So we launched a bunch of integrations earlier this week, and we have a bunch more coming up pretty soon. So there are 3 of them that you can see here. So one is Telegram, then we have WhatsApp Messenger and Facebook Messenger. So we have guides on each one of them on how you can install that and set up your own WhatsApp bot or your Telegram bot. So if that is something where you would like your users to interact via some other application like WhatsApp, that is also something that you can do as well. Now I'll jump onto the inbox tab. So this is where you can see all the conversations that are happening on your bot. So if you remember, few seconds back, I had asked it a question. So that has been shown here. And you can also go and see, other details for users who have filled in the form. You can block their IP if you want to not allow them to keep using the bot. So you can also block their IP address. And you can also export the chat for any analytics or other purposes. Similarly, you have the users tab here. Here you can see an export of all of the users who filled in the form on your bot. So this also you can export as a CSV. And we are also adding Zapier integration soon. So you would be able to kind of publish this as soon as a lead comes in. You would be able to send it to something like, let's say, Salesforce or Slack or whatever other channel that you wish to use. Then we have apps. So apps are a little bit different from the WhatsApp and all those integrations that I mentioned. So the first app that we have available here is our Calendly integration. So this is what it looks like. And this is still in beta, but what it helps out with is, let's say if the bot is not able to answer your query, or if the user specifically asks to talk to a human or a salesperson, then this would kind of load your Calendly calendar within Botsonic and allow them to schedule a support call or sort of like an appointment using your Calendly. So I just click the install button. Now I'll click the setup now. So this will load the Calendly connection interface. I'll click the connect button. Okay, so this has been connected now. And now I'll just enable this and choose an event. So let's say I do a 30-minute meeting. And this will save my setting. And yeah, once it's been set up, it says app is installed and workflow is active. Now, when you so I'll just disable the form again, so I don't have to fill it again and again. Now you can go and interact with the chatbot, and our AI will automatically determine at what point to show a calendar invite. So I can say something like, I need to talk to a support person. So in here, if you see, first of all, it has also given the email because that is what we mentioned on the bot settings page. And then it has automatically given this schedule a call button here. It doesn't just work for this case, it also works automatically when the bot is unable to answer a question or when it detects that someone needs to talk to a salesperson. So there are a couple of scenarios. We are still working on making it more robust, but it would automatically invoke this button. Now, all you need to do is click this button. Your user needs to click this button, sorry. This will load Calendly, the Calendly that we configured within Botsonic. Now you can sort of select an appointment. So let's say I do this one, enter in the details.
It loads right inside the widget itself. I thought it's going to open like a new link or, oh my God, wow.
And hit the schedule event button. And there you go, your meeting has been scheduled. And if I check my inbox, I will have received the Calendly invite link there. So it's as easy as that. And this is one of the first full sort of apps that we have available. We have lots more coming up. So actually, Minank, if there's an option, we can also do a poll, ask the users what integration or what next app they would be.
Oh yes, users are already sending their integrations. So they were asking for Microsoft Teams. That's
got it.
But that's like an integration inside, like they want the bot to interact like as a Slack bot or Microsoft Teams.
Interestingly, we have the Slack bot available. It's pending review, but you can still go and set it up. So we can find and share the link. But yeah, even today itself, you can set up the Slack bot. Similarly, we are also actually planning to build a Microsoft Teams bot as well. But
Oh,
you can
lovely.
install, if you use Slack, you can already install the Slack bot and start using it. We haven't announced it yet, but shortly we can share the link so you can install it and test it out. And if you haven't already kind of joined, do join our Botsonic Slack community, where we have a very sort of dedicated set of power users. So any kind of feedback you have or any feedback kind of request you have in terms of new features, we would be happy to take those up in that channel. And also our engineers are there, so they'll be able to help out and answer any queries as quickly as possible as well. Now, before we jump into anything else, I'll just go towards the last tab, which is the analytics tab. This is pretty basic right now, but it gives you an overview of, you can choose a date range, and it will give you an overview of how many messages have been asked on your bot and how many total conversations or chats have been done so far. We are working on enriching it. So we are also releasing a Google Tag Manager and a Google Analytics integration very soon. And we are also further enhancing this, where you'll be able to see the trending questions that people are asking, or you'd be able to see how many conversations were resolved by the bot. So all of those are coming up. But for now, you can see how many conversations and messages are being done on your bot. And then finally, one more thing I remembered actually. So you can also see this button over here. You can click this button. And what this does is it makes the bot full screen. And in this case, what you can do is get a better experience. If you know that bot is too small for you, you can also test it out over here, in sort of like a bigger mode, and test it out here as well. It's the same UI, but just bigger, a little bit different there. So I think I've covered most of the things there. Are there any questions we can take up?
Oh, yes, there are many questions coming in, especially from Dan, Frank, Carl. There are two Dans here asking a lot of questions. So let's get this started. So can I export all conversations at once or each individual conversation? This is by Ines. Oh. When
Sorry,
exporting, can I export all conversations at once or only each individual conversation?
So all conversation, actually, one of our devs was working on this today. So most likely by tomorrow, we'll have it available. So on the top right-hand corner here, you'll have a button where you can click that button, choose a date range. For example, if you want the conversations for the last 1 week, and you can export it in 3 different file formats: JSON, Excel, and CSV. So that is coming up this week for sure. Yeah.
Perfect. And this one question has been coming in, which is, I love the inbox, but can the messages be forwarded to an email automatically?
Right. So that would be the human handoff. So that is something we are actively working on. So essentially, whenever a conversation sort of ends, or when the bot resolves a conversation, we can add the ability to send it to email. And then also we are adding the handoff thing wherein let's say if the bot is unable to answer the query, it will automatically create a summary and then create a ticket on Zendesk or Salesforce or Freshdesk, and transfer it to a human agent there. So that is the other thing that we're working on, would be coming up probably in like 1 to 2 weeks. Yeah.
Lovely. Yes, Dan, glad you're liking the handoff process. And there have been many queries on the FAQ section to show the FAQ section once again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this one. Yeah.
Yes.
So, right. So there are, first I'll tell you what, how exactly we handle FAQs in terms of our AI model. So first of all, some people get confused between FAQ and starter questions. So starter questions are basically what you see here. You can have up to maybe around 3 to 5 starter questions. And these are predefined responses, which you want to show before a user even starts the conversation. So this is just to give the user an idea that these are the kinds of questions you can ask. And these have predefined responses, which the AI will use as it is. It won't do any changes there. It will just take whatever you had in the starter question here. It will exactly give that back as a response. So that is what starter question is. Now I'll jump into FAQs. So what FAQs are is basically, let's say if there are hundreds of users every day on your chatbot who are asking the question, what is the pricing of, let's say, Botsonic? And let's say that information, the bot is not able to give the correct answer to from your links or the files that you uploaded due to some reason. Maybe we were not able to scrape that text, or just due to some reason it is not able to answer the questions directly from your knowledge base. So in that case, you can add in the question and answer here. And if that question matches the question of the user, not exactly, but we do a semantic similarity or a semantic search. So if it matches that question, then the bot will use that answer and give that response, little bit in a paraphrased way, but we'll try to generate that response based on that. So that is the use case of the FAQ. One other thing that we're also working on, as some users have mentioned, is giving a higher priority to anything that is mentioned in the FAQs over something that is coming from your knowledge base. So that is something that's a hit or a miss right now. Sometimes it does give priority to FAQs, sometimes it doesn't, but that is something we are working on improving and should be fixed very soon. So yeah, that is one way of adding the FAQs. You click that button, you type in a question and answer here. Second way of adding the FAQs, if you want to do it in bulk, is you download this template. So it's a basic CSV template, and you basically have these question answer pairs. So you can have like hundreds of these question answer pairs, and then you just do an upload of that CSV file here, and it will automatically, read through your CSV, hundreds of FAQs and train on that. So you don't need to manually then add the questions one by one. Does that answer the question?
Heidi, hope that answers your question, because you've been asking multiple questions about FAQs. So that should answer it. And this is an interesting question by Brian. Is there any option for user to select from multiple options like sales at my domain or support at my domain?
For emails?
Yes.
Not at the moment, but that's a very good feedback. So we can definitely incorporate it. So yeah, we can add like one more field here, which is basically the sales email. So in the case of sales inquiries, it would pass it on to the sales team, and in case of support ones, to the support team. So noted, and we'll work on it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for giving such feedback, Brian. And this is why we do these kind of training sessions, because your questions lead us to develop more and more features, and these features are being used by many other community members, just like you.
Yeah.
Awesome. And moving on to the next question, can I just set the system language as German?
You can do that here. Yeah. So as I was mentioning on language, so we are aware of there are some issues where it is, ideally what we want is the bot to be able to dynamically handle the responses based on the language of your end user. So what we are adding here tomorrow is basically a button, like a drop down here, where you'll be able to choose between two different options. So one is a static language and one is a dynamic language. Static language, for example, let's say if you set it to German, irrespective of what language your user asks the question in, it will always answer it in that specific, in German, basically. So that is the static part. And dynamic part is where we want it to be truly multilingual, where whatever language your user is asking the question in, it will respond back in that exact same language. So for example, if my data is trained on English knowledge base, but my user asked the question in German, it would still get the answer in English and then, handle all the translation and everything, and then respond back in German itself there instead of in English. So yeah, that update is coming up tomorrow. So do test it out and then let us know what you think.
Absolutely, guys. Let us know inside the community, and we would love to see how you're trying it out. And one more question is like, can we set the bot to only pop up on certain pages of our website?
So currently, no. Again, feedback noted. What you can do as a workaround for now is basically create multiple bots and then embed, each one on different. It's not the best way of doing it, but yeah, I think this request we have had from multiple users. It's definitely in our roadmap. So we'll be releasing it shortly in the next few days. Yeah.
Awesome. And there's a follow-up question on language. It's like, if I set the bot to English and someone asks a question in Spanish, will the bot respond in Spanish?
Correct. So as I mentioned, there would be two options here, dynamic or static. If you're setting it to dynamic, it can answer in any language, irrespective of, whatever your data is in. But if you have set it to static, then it will only stick to that specific language which you have set here. So it's up to you what you choose. If you choose dynamic, it will handle all the languages. Yeah.
Yep. And moving on to the next question. Many people are like, dynamic language is awesome. We have Dan and Frank. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes. And there's one more important question about data collection. And I feel we should definitely address that. If you collect phone numbers, will you have an opt-in button so we can comply with the USA spam laws? That's an interesting question.
Right. So one thing actually, it's in the works right now. The ETA is somewhere around 2 weeks. But basically, what we are working on is before your user starts the conversation, they'll see sort of like how you see the GDPR consent banners and the cookie banners. So you'll see sort of like a banner kind of thing here. And depending on your location, you can set different policies. So for example, if someone is in the European Union, you can set the GDPR policy link or the privacy policy link specific to GDPR and add, it would show accept or reject button. If the user accepts it, only then the chat would start. If they reject it or deny it, then it would give a message that first you accept our privacy policy, and then only the conversation will go ahead. So that is something we are coming up with. And depending on your location, you can choose different policies. So for example, if you're in the US, there's the California state law, or whatever different laws are there. If you're in the European Union, you can have different kind of policies and all of that. So that is something we do have in the plan, and ideally in the next 2 weeks, I would say that's something we are coming up with. Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm surprised to see Rahman over here. He has figured out a workaround on how to add Botsonic in different pages. He's like, adding Botsonic is possible. I've did it in different pages.
Awesome.
He's like, you have to give the full URL of your page in the place of the root URL. Interesting. Different workarounds. Awesome.
Yeah. Do share it in our community so others can benefit as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And are you going to make an app available for Shopify?
So yeah, we were working on a Shopify app, but they have very stringent kind of approval procedures and stuff. So at the moment, what we had in the plan was very simple, basically, more for embedding your current bot, where you just install the app, you enter, one token, and it starts using it. But then we figured that, okay, it's barely 5 minutes of work taking this script and adding it on your Shopify custom code section. So for the time being, we are not actively working on that. Later on, what we'll be working on is a very sort of deeper Shopify integration, wherein it would automatically connect with the Shopify system to read in your product data, your other details, information about your store, and all of that. So that we might be coming up with probably later down the line, but not at the moment, not our focus at the moment. Yeah.
Awesome. And moving on to the next question. There's two questions around the document management and deleting the duplicates. So can you create tools to filter, sort, and search FAQs in the future updates? Very interesting question.
Just FAQs or other files in general?
Both.
So
Their questions
yeah.
are on the similar topic for both. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
So I think files you can already search here. Filtration we can add definitely, totally agreed on that. So I can, we can chat with some of the users and see what makes more sense in terms of the what filters to implement. Yeah, so that we can add. And definitely FAQs also we can add. I think FAQ is a simple one where we'll just add a search button here. Sorry, a search bar here where you can search and it would filter down the links. So already does it for URLs and links. And similar thing we can add for FAQs as well.
Perfect. Perfect. Moving on to the next question, and which is, how do you think it would be possible for the bot to provide an estimate or a quote to a customer? That would be cool.
I think there are different ways to look into that. There are a couple of things we are planning to be working on very soon. So one is if you have your own database, basically an SQL database, you'll be able to connect that to our to Botsonic as a data source here, and then it will be able to execute queries on your database, get that relevant information, and basically give it to the user. So a lot of different use cases, whether it's for getting the order status or for getting the price of a product or anything around that. So that is something we do have in the plan. And second thing also with CSVs and Excels. So currently you can upload only one CSV, but it does analytical queries. So if you upload one CSV, test it out. If you ask a question like, for example, if you had a list of all the shoes in a shop, and you ask a question like, okay, what's the total, what's the highest priced shoe in this shop? It will be able to make that query in your CSV file, fetch that response, and create an answer for you. Similarly, you can also handle the price estimations and all of that. So yeah, all that is in the plans. And also, if you have a REST API integrations also we are coming up with, where you can connect your API. It will call your API to get the relevant quote based on whatever logic you have defined, and then give it to your user.
Awesome. And this question is by Carl. He says, how to return an answer with a recommended further reading, such as an external URL?
That you already get with the sources, right?
Yes. So he's like, how to ensure reading link is included in every response?
By default, it is included. So one thing to check there, if you go to settings and appearance, make sure that show sources with this response is turned to show. Then at every time, any point of time, whichever response it is giving, it will give you the sources for that where they can go and further read it.
Awesome. Awesome. Hope that answers your question, Carl. And any tutorial on WhatsApp integration?
We do have a tutorial on that. So we can send it over along with the recording, or if you join our Slack channel, you should be able to find it there. Or you can
Yes.
also go and I think it was here.
Since we just released this update, we are just updating all our tutorials. Do join our community where we'll be sharing these tutorials in depth, and we're going to be having fun creating WhatsApp bots.
So if you go to the share section and then integrations, when you click on this view button, you actually have the tutorial there.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So the tutorial is right here. You can watch this video, or you can also follow these steps. I think video would be better because it's a little bit of a lengthy process, with the whole Meta business account thing. But once you're set up, it works pretty seamlessly. So for any of the integrations that you see here, you can find the videos and the tutorials right inside here.
Great. And One more question about migration. Yeah, I get it, guys. You guys have been asking a ton of questions about migration. It's very simple. Dan says, can you quickly walk me through how to migrate from old Botsonic to the new Botsonic? All you gotta do is an option of new Botsonic will be shown on your dashboard. And when you click that, it's a seamless process. Everything will automatically be migrated. Is that right, Sam?
And you should have received an email from us on I believe on Monday. So you should have already received that email where there is a detailed migration guide given there. It's pretty straightforward, but still you can refer that guide. All you need to do is click, kind of select your plan and click two buttons, and it will seamlessly migrate you and transfer all of your credits and stuff as well. So if you haven't received it, do reach out to our support and they can help out there, or join our Slack community. Up to you.
Awesome. And there's an API related question. Will the call response to be able to ping any database? Certain questions would require an API to grab info from specific database, if that makes sense.
Right. So that's the plan. So basically, little bit in technical terms, if you have a Swagger schema for your REST API, or like a open API spec for your REST API, the way we are building is all you would need to do is feed in that schema to our system. It will understand all the endpoints that you have available. And then depending on the question of the user, it will automatically call the relevant endpoints and fetch the data and then give a response to the end user there.
Perfect. We'll be pasting the Slack group joining link in the chat down below. Make sure you click that link and join our Slack community for Botsonic. And where can I see what plan I'm on? It's very simple, Dan. All you have to do is go to your profile on top right section where your profile picture would be visible. Go to plans and you will be able to see your plan. If it's on Rightsonic, that is. If it's on Botsonic, you have the manage plan option on your bottom left-hand side, as you can see on your screen. And that's where you can just click. But based on your questions, I think you're still on the Rightsonic dashboard. So that's how you see what plan you're on. Can the bot return an MP4 video file rather than text? That's interesting. One of the very first of the kind questions from Carl. Yeah, Sam.
Not at the moment. I don't think we have come across that use case yet. So do let us know the use case and we can potentially add it to our roadmap.
Yes. Do let us know the use case. I'm curious, what exactly would you need an MP4 file as an output? I would probably think of YouTube tutorial as an output. The bot giving a YouTube tutorial, and I could set it up potentially with an FAQ option over there. But MP4 file directly, that is something interesting. So let us know your use case. Can you enable a prompt library section and a UI form data JSON API integration? So based on user UI responses, a correct prompt can be invoked. This will eliminate the need to add another layer of AI in front. Interesting.
That's
a very interesting use case. We haven't really explored on that front, but super interesting. I'm taking a screenshot. We and the devs are going to have a long conversation after this based on that. But interesting one, Mario. Thank you so much for the feedback. And moving on to the next question. How long do we have to decide for the new offer? Interesting.
So there's no time limit as such. It's just that, we recommend to switch as soon as possible, just because the new system is much better, much more scalable, and all the performance improvements, the AI improvements that we are doing here, those won't be coming to the old platform. So you can still keep using the old platform as long as you want, but we won't be doing any further development there in terms of any bug fixes or any new releases or integrations or anything. So all of that would be available on this new platform.
Perfect. Moving on to the next question. So Carl's use case is basically for an AI avatar returning an FAQ response. So upload small MP4 files as sources. MP4 files as sources. Okay, that's currently that's I think okay. Hey, Sam, you can tell it.
I think it's an interesting use case. I think if
Yep.
few other users also have a similar use case, we can definitely think about it. But at the moment, it is not in our roadmap. But yeah, if multiple users are requesting, we can definitely consider it. Yeah.
First of a kind request, actually, Carl.
Yeah.
Awesome. And will a PDF of a CSV or Excel table work in the place of a CSV file?
Not exactly. Because these different kinds of files are sort of parsed differently based on certain criteria. So that might not work the best. It might work, but won't give you the best results there.
Gotcha. And moving on to the next. Does the bot respond to accessibility tools embedded or in the browser? Example, changing font size or color.
Not at the moment. That is definitely something that is in our list to kind of make it more accessible. So we are working on it. Yeah, so soon you will be able to, but not at the moment. If you have any certain specific suggestions or feedback around that, do test it out with those accessibility tools and let us know on Slack, and we would love to work on those.
Awesome. And I'm in the Rightsonic plan section and I see no option to subscribe to the new Botsonic plan. Dan, you should be seeing on the main dashboard itself. You need not go to any separate section, but seeing right on your main dashboard. If you don't see it, please tell us your email. We'll ask our team to reach out to you ASAP after this webinar. And we want to solve this out for you ASAP so that you can just dive into the new Botsonic and create bots. Please type in your email as a question. Oh, you're fast. You're fast. And I think I've interacted with you already because I recognize your email. So don't worry, I'll reach out to you ASAP after this webinar. And will voice activation be available in the future?
Yeah, so text to speech and speech to text is something that is definitely in the plan. So in the next few weeks, you can expect it to come out. So essentially, you'll be interact with it using voice, it will respond back using voice as well. So that is definitely coming shortly.
Great, great. Moving on to the next question, which is, yeah, we've answered the PDF question already. Last 3 questions and we will just end this session. And guys, if you have any more questions, I get it. We have totally answered 60 questions right now. That's a lot of questions already. So if there are any more questions, we would love to answer them. And we answer them all in our community because it's not just me or Sam, but the entire Rightsonic team is over there, including the dev team, taking in feedback and etc. We have shared the community link in the chat down below. You can just join with the Slack link with the in the Botsonic new community, and we have different sections for feedback, asking questions, etc. So make sure you ask your questions there because we would love to answer them and get inspirations from new questions like Carl or Heidi is asking on, because these are the kind of questions we want to hear from you, because these lead us to develop more interesting features. Awesome. Good to see. The next question, will a mobile app be available? Interesting.
Right. I think not mobile app. I don't know like what would be the use case, but a mobile SDK for sure, where you'd be able to kind of integrate the chatbot in your own application. So that is something that will be coming up soon. And I guess mobile app, you meant more for seeing the inbox or the queries and maybe changing certain settings or something. So that is definitely in our roadmap, but not immediately, but definitely something which we do plan to work on. But an SDK we would be working on very soon for sure. So for example, if you have a Flutter application or a Android or iOS application, then you'll be able to kind of embed the bot inside your mobile application. So that is something we are definitely kind of going to be working on very soon.
Got it. And oh, the Slack link has expired. Sorry. Sam, can you please generate a new Slack invite link? You can stop the screen sharing and generate a new Slack invite link and paste it in the chat down below. Sometimes these links get expired and I'm like, okay, it's all right. We are here. We want you to join the community, ask all your questions there. Message me directly in the community. I would love to deal with and solve all your problems. Perfect. We've pasted the new Slack invite. It's freshly generated, so it won't expire. So make sure you join the Slack community down below, and we will answer all your questions over there. And you can also look at all the previous questions being asked by other community members. We have feature request section where you can request more features. We have suggestions. We have a lot of things going on inside the community, and I would love to see you inside over there. And one more last question. And after that, of course, you've been waiting for the surprise. So let's get this started. I have an industry specific CRM and it starts with a form that can be embedded. Would this allow for that instead of an app integration? Very interesting. So basically integrating with an existing CRM that is out there.
CRM, I think we are definitely working on some integrations. I think Salesforce probably would be one of them that we will be starting with, and then probably HubSpot as well. So I think probably those two integrations are what we'll be releasing integrations with pretty soon. Yeah, if there are any other integrations you would like to sort of ask us to build, then do let us know.
Absolutely. And one more last question before we get to the surprise part. I have an existing Botsonic subscription and I would love to upgrade to Botsonic. So if I migrate right now, will I have to pay now or after expiration of my subscription? Interesting. Question from Afzalur.
Right. So it's basically handled on a pro rata basis. So if you are on a higher plan and then you, let's say, go to the Botsonic plan, you wouldn't have to pay anything right now because it's, you're sort of coming to a lower plan. If you're going from a lower plan to higher plan, only the prorated amount for, let's say, if there are 10 days left in your subscription or 5 days or whatever, only that prorated amount will be charged depending on the balance of the plans there.
Perfect. And that's it for the questions. And we've answered almost more than 60 questions. That's great. So we hope you had an amazing time over here, but I'm not just ending the session yet. We have a surprise. So Sam, tell us what exactly we can give the users. We'll pick one amazing question and we will give the users, what do you want to give? Messages, words, or is it minutes?
I think let's do messages. Words don't work on the new system.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. So since Dan has asked us a ton of questions, we would like to award Dan. Congratulations for winning messages. Do join the Slack community, DM me, and we will credit the messages in your brand new Botsonic account for you to try out your new bot. Congratulations, Dan, for winning by asking a ton of interesting questions out there. But since we are feeling more generous, let's choose another winner. Let's choose another winner out there. This time, we will see. Just comment what use case that you're going to use Botsonic for. We'll choose a random winner. That's right. Yes, Saurabh, one more winner. Just comment what use case you're going to use Botsonic for. We would love to see exactly what you're using Botsonic for. Is it for company websites, or is it for your hobby projects, or is it for any other purposes? We would love to know that. Comment in the chat section down below. And Ines says, integrate into coaching app. Very interesting. And that was another question by Ines, is like, can I integrate Botsonic into an app? Interesting. Physician knowledge base in the healthcare community. Okay, all answers from healthcare. Healthcare is a really good niche to have a bot like this. Cross-company chatbot to answer questions on our support and training portals. Great. Use Botsonic for developing Botsonic. Okay, interesting. Use it for educational purposes. All right. Agency will be using on client sites. I think that's one of the most common use case questions that we get out there. Building chatbots for our own clients. Great. And answer questions about lead water lines. Botsonic to help DJs connect with their audience and accept song requests. That's unique. That's one of the unique requests we have seen till now. So, all right. Thank you so much for sending all these use cases. Our team is all reading this behind the scenes and noting it down so that we can see your industry specific use cases. For example, using Botsonic on your client sites. That's one of the most common requests that we get. And we are working on some features out there down the line. Help happy drunk people in the clubs for the DJ requests and all. Academic research, good stuff. So I would like to pick a random person over here. Let's pick Neil. Congratulations, Neil. Join the Slack community. Message me out there. DM me. And we will add messages to your new account. Congratulations, Neil and Dan, for winning. So with that, we have come to the end of this training session. Thank you so much for joining this session. And you know, this makes us happy because you join from different places. We'd love to see the community hang out like this at once. So we'll be doing more training sessions based on your requests as well, be it on WhatsApp, be it on future bot creations. We can have more fun like that. So make sure you request all in the community down there in Slack. So I'm going to see you there. Let's talk over there. And this was fun. Thank you so much, Sam, as well, navigating us through the different Botsonic features that have come out.